I want to welcome some presenters to our stage. And as you heard Ari mention earlier, Dr. Elizabeth Head from UC Irvine had some flight delays, so she will not be joining us, but instead we have Dr. Jose Cavazos, Professor of Neurology and Associate Dean for Research and the Rec Core Leader for the South Texas ADRC. He's the Chair-elect for the ADRC Steering Committee, and he'll be giving some updates along with Dr. Minerva Carrasquillo, an assistant professor and associate consultant at Mayo Clinic, Florida. Dr. Carrasquillo is the chair of the diversity work group within the NACC, within the National ADRC Rec. So welcome to the stage.
Thank you very much for the introduction. I am here, as you heard, representing the team effort of the National Rec Steering Committee. Let's see, this is the power. So Dr. Elizabeth Head is the current chair of our committee from the University of California, Irvine ADRC. Myself at University of Texas Health San Antonio, which is part of South Texas ADRC. Dr. Hussein Yassin, who is the immediate past chair from the University of Southern California, and Dr. Barbara Bendlin from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Our committee's goals are essentially three major tasks, and those are to collaborate to support trainees, and that is through websites, shared resources, collaborations with the Alzheimer's Association, but also among ourselves here at the Spring ADRC. You know, we have our rec steering poster session, and I really will ask you to provide constructive criticism to the future leaders of the ADRC workforce. In addition, we are working on developing a collaborative core curriculum, identifying critical skill sets, and among them, for example, is grant writing. And so on Wednesday, we are actually hosting, and thank you all of the individuals who are serving as mentors. We're holding a mock study section where we are going to be providing a set of fresh eyes to our rec scholars for them to be reading their specific aims and understand how to be better grant writers. We also are sharing our ADRC strategies and collaborate across ADRCs. And lastly, we have a mandate for increasing diversity. And we have a series of initiatives that we're trying to do to promote diversity recruitment, retention, and maintain also a diversity workforce work group that Dr. Carrasquillo has been leading. And with that, Minerva.
Thank you, everyone, for the opportunity for me to tell you a little bit about the diversity work group that I'm chairing. And as Hannah mentioned, I am an assistant professor in the Department of Neuroscience at Mayo Clinic in Florida. The focus of my research is on the identification of novel therapeutic targets and biomarkers for AD, with a special emphasis on underrepresented populations that are at greater risk, such as African Americans and Latino Americans. And I'm excited to say that recently we were awarded U19 NIH award for the identification of blood-based biomarkers. This is the Clear AD program, of which I'm also the PI of a project specifically focused on African Americans and Latino Americans. I want to tell you a little bit about the goals of the diversity work group that the National Rec Steering Committee has put together with the goals of first reaching out to students from underrepresented populations, starting as young as high school, to extend the pathway to ADRD research, creating experiences that are quantifiable and impactful for these students and for the different centers. And the other goal is to create a toolkit to help all ADRCs to engage in these initiatives and create opportunities for the current rec scholars and trainees to learn about their ADRCs, the course, resources, and internal and external collaborations. And to introduce you to the diversity work group leadership and showing them here, there's 7 of us representing 7 different ADRCs, myself at Mayo Clinic, Dr. Benlin at Wisconsin, Dr. Head at UC Irvine, Dr. Cavazos at South Texas, Dr. Morris in Kansas, Dr. Nelson is in Arizona, and Dr. O'Connor in Boston. And I would like to say that we had an initial meeting to see what was the interest across ADRCs to participate in these initiatives, and there were 37 individuals that attended and provided ideas, so we are hoping that these individuals will be proponents of the various activities and initiatives that we will recommend. So some of the examples that the initiatives that we're working on are to create a toolkit to help all ADRCs engage in the various initiatives, and also creating additional opportunities for rec scholars and trainees that are consistent across all of the ADRCs. And the example of what this toolkit may include is shown here. So an example is a meet and greet for the rec scholars and trainees, such as an onboarding to meet ADRC core leaders and receive presentations of ongoing projects by each of the cores. Also having monthly touch points with the rec scholars and trainees so that they can meet with ADRC rec core leaders and their ADRC mentors to ensure their success and progress. Also having the rec scholar and trainees network at conferences such as the AAIC. So this will provide an opportunity for ADRC leadership to bring in the collaborators and introduce them to the rec scholars and trainees. And also another example of an initiative that is actually happening in some of the ADRCs is brain cutting boot camps, where high schoolers come and they learn about brain function, the brain regions, what they do, and this gets them really excited just to even see a real human brain. And then in terms of creating opportunities for rec scholars and trainees, we have already distributed a survey that was sent to all rec scholars and trainees to learn how their ADRCs are supporting them currently. And the results of this survey will be reported at the next ADRC meeting in the fall. And with that, I will pass it back to Dr. Cavazos.
Thank you, Dr. Carrasquillo. So we recently, as a REC steering committee, did a clinical pathological conference survey that was sent to all of the 37 ADRCs. There were 23 questions in there, and the data closed on April the 21st. 63 individuals across 32 centers, so only 5 centers did not participate. And out of those, 55 individuals indicated that their center has regularly scheduled clinical pathological conference. Now, the majority of them indicated that their ADRC did not record their CPCs. Having said that, 50% of the respondents indicated that they were primarily for training purposes, but also for case review and discussion. And summary will be shared with Nina and then get feedback on what to highlight. The full report will be sent to the out after the ADIC meeting. Now, Other things that we are doing, the website, as is indicated, we have a page for REC website resources, and we have also developed a REC YouTube channel, since the majority of the younger generations access information in, brief videos. Perhaps we need to do more. You start doing TikTok or something along those lines, But at the moment, it's YouTube. Now, spread the word. As I said earlier, we need to mentor and nurture and sponsor our future leaders, our trainees, our REC scholars. They are a very vast resource, and we have invested a lot of time and effort into them. So we are going to be doing a REC social with the REC scholars and leaders and program officers and those who are going to be available at the AAIC in Amsterdam during the week of July 16. There will be more details about this in-person networking event as we get closer to that meeting. We also want you to participate today. Very important. The majority of the REC session is about you and them. So the attendees will need to look at the posters, provide criticism, constructive criticism. How can you make this better? How can you communicate these ideas in a better manner? And we would like you to vote, and the top 2 winners of the poster presentations will be awarded a Rising Star Award by the audience. And for that, please scan this QR code so that you can add those individuals after watching and seeing the posters. So with that, I am closing my part of the session, and the next portion is for you to stretch, get up, and interact with our REC scholars. Thank you very much. Hannah, any special?
Yeah, I guess the only thing is that we'll see you all back here for our Fostering Increased Inclusion session at 10:45 a.m. Eastern.
I'm sorry, people, the lights are really blinding, but I see that there is a question there.
Is the mic on?
Yes.
I did have a question. So in the REC tables where we report on our individual trainee cohort, we do not report on the status of the underrepresented group. This seems like a bit of, is this deliberate? Is it deliberate that we don't report on this? Because it seems like this is a missed opportunity, and what you don't know, you can't measure. Is there any plans to add this? We do collect this. We present it to our EAB. It's just, again, we don't change the format series.
So as I completed my RPPR, I certainly made sure that all of our activities, all the way to high school, we hosted 4 trainees in our research laboratories, and our REC scholars are mentoring these diverse scholars, but we included that information in the narrative of the report. Having said that, you are point correct. That's a missed opportunity. Thank you. Any other questions? Please provide constructive criticism to our scholars. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.